Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 556 for September 27th, 2023. And hello, everybody. I am Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks for clicking on Ham Nation here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. Got a packed show for you. Fun. I think it's going to be a little bit for everybody. It's the potpourri of ham radio. And with us, the host today, Gordo at the top of the potpourri on Jeopardy.
Oh, that. Okay.
Remember that whole thing? Gordo on the top of the pyramid. How are you today, sir?
Well, we're fine. All is well here on the West Coast.
Very good. And Don, how are you today?
I'm warm. Our central AC is out, but it's been comfortable weather-wise. Wanted to real quickly say happy birthday to my sister Susan, my new sister that I found last year. Today is her birthday, and so happy birthday to Sister Susan. I love you.
Happy birthday. And happy birthday to Dawn, who had a birthday, was it earlier this week? Monday. Yeah. Monday. So happy birthday to you. And in the Amanda position, remember everybody, Amanda's taking a little bit of time to be with her family, so she sends all of her love to everybody who watches. She may be even in the chat, so keep an eye posted on that. We are watching the chat, by the way. If you have questions, just type question or at Ham Radio Crash Course, and I'll see it. But Randy is back with us. He has a ham radio journey kind of story to share. What have you been up to, Randy?
Well, we've had some rain here. And that's been really nice. We've had about 4 some inches, but today sun came out, so it's really helped a couple of the fires that are, in the 20-mile away type range. So that was good. But I did my first POTA activations about a month ago.
For someone who is as portable ham radio as you are, I've seen so many of your videos when you're out in the field. To have this be your first POTA, I'm super excited to hear your trail report on that. So
it was fun, yeah.
Yeah, you'll be sharing that with us a little bit later in the show. Yep. But first, we get to stop off with Gordo, who has an update, some secret knowledge on a vertical antenna that you might all be thinking about putting on your house. Gordo?
All right, thanks so much. Well, the neat thing about those tall white fiberglass vertical antennas is you get more gain close to the horizon by the dB gain that they're advertised. 3 dB would look like this. 6 dB, see how it gets fatter here? 8 and 9 dB. Now you can see that by removing that energy out of the radiation to the sky and concentrating it close down to the horizon, you're going to get gain. Well, let's take a look at putting together a gain antenna, and it'll be a lot easier once you know these tricks. Well, certainly Comet and Diamond are the big names that you see in all the ham stores, and they both have terrific 3 dB, 6 dB, and 9 dB gain antennas. The 3 dB is a one piece, the 6 dB comes in 2 sections that come together, and the 9 dB comes in 3 sections that come together. But I'm showing you this to say, don't lose what's inside this package beside the elements, because they have some very important little screws and doodads, and of course the mounts. So when you take it out of the wrapper, and it's a heavy one, don't lose the stuff that is in there. And that includes this. You can mount it to a plain old vent pipe. No, you're not going to occlude the top part of the vent pipe, because this is going to be holding the antenna on the outside of the vent pipe. Don't lose these when you take everything out. These are the 3 radials that point down at about a 30-degree angle and make for the good ground plane. And the way they get gain is by stacking half wavelengths or maybe 5/8 wavelengths, one after another on top of each other inside a sturdy white fiberglass mast. But you've got to read the instructions, and what you're going to need to put together the antenna is a little tiny Phillips screwdriver, as well as a pair of long nose pliers, and we'll show you how those come into play. First of all, the top section gets mated to the center section, and you are connecting what you see down there as a little brass doodad, but it's too far up there to be able to get access to the screws. So gently tap it on the ground, and that'll come out further and further. Well, So they say it should. Sometimes you may have to take a pair of long-nosed diagonals and give it a little tug, but don't tug it too much, because if you do, you're going to cause problems in how those little wire elements inside that tube are placed and are put together. All right, we've tapped it enough. Don't lose that little orange thing. That's a nice watertight seal. A lot of the tram antennas at half the cost, water gets into them and the antenna is pretty much down and out after a severe rainstorm, unless you've added some protection to it. Comet and Diamond, they give you the protection part of the package. All right, now that's a little doodad. You got to take these little screws in. These are little tiny guys. So be sure and not do it over a lawn, because if you drop one of these screws, it's going to be pretty hard to find unless you have a handy dandy metal detector. All right, get them started, but not to where they're going all the way through. There's the second one. Again, make sure that that orange rubber seal is right where it's supposed to be. And now to the right, you can see, after a little bit of tapping and a little bit of pull, very light pull with the long nose pliers, we're ready to make the connection between the top element and the center element. And again, you may have to give it a little tiny pull, but they don't tell you this. Don't pull too much, because the elements inside are brass and they are perfectly formed until you give them a real hard tug, which you do not want to do. All right, you've got it inside there, tighten up the 4 screws, and now you've got to put things together. Well, what do you mean? Well, you got to do the screw and the nut and the screwdriver with the bottom section. And you're going to find that, the thing, there's not going together. And that's because you need to coax the elements back into place. Don't just push real hard, and because you could bend the elements, and inside the white fiberglass, they're going to distort, and that's going to give you an SWR bump. So be very cautious that you push the elements back in together as best you can. And the way you do that is make sure and not tighten those outside little tightening dealies until everything is in place and all the sections are in there snug. Then go ahead and tighten it. If you tighten it per the instructions before you get everything to nest inside, and you're trying to push it through and it's not going through, it's going to distort the inside copper elements, and that's not good. So don't tighten things up until everything is inside the white fiberglass. Ah, there we go. So get it mounted, and it doesn't take much of a standpipe or whatever you've got alongside your house to mount it there. And I like to put coaxial seal on even around those well-fitting middle and upper joints that you see as black in the picture. And once you've got it into the air, either the 3, 6, or 9, you are going to have an amazing signal. On the 9 dB versus the 6 dB, and you can see the big 9 dB there, the difference is not remarkable when you're in relatively close to another station. But if you've had a hard time getting through, you're just getting into a distant repeater, maybe 90 miles away down on the level with you, not way up on a mountain, you'll find that the 9 dB will give you a little more signal strength and will cut that background noise. So if you're right on the edge and you're only got a 3 or a 6 dB gain antenna, a collinear array, which is dual band, both 2 meters and 440, then the 9 dB is going to be just for you. And you're probably saying, oh, this is great. I've already got the 6 dB mount in place. I'll just drop the 9 dB. Nope, it takes a different set of slightly larger brackets. 3 to 6, same brackets. 6 to 9, both Diamond and Comet, at least for sure Comet, you do need to have specifically the slightly larger Comet brackets that fit fine. So I encourage all of you to be very cautious when you put together these great antennas. It's going to bring your angle of radiation way down. So if you're working repeaters relatively well that are up at about a 45-degree angle on that real tall mountain, you may not want to go to the 9. That would actually pull some of the signal down closer to the horizon. So have fun with collinear gain antennas. And Don, you probably got plenty of antennas that you've got going on down there where you are. Here's Don.
Well, we got a call. All right. Well, very cool. What I was going to say is there is a very cool special event station coming up very soon. In fact, it's going to be, let me see. I'll just bring our guest on. It's Katie for VVZ. This is General Daly. Yes, his name is actually General.
How you doing, Don?
Hey, I'm doing great, my friend. He lives in Lucedale, Mississippi, which is about 100 miles away from me, right on the Alabama-Mississippi border. I mean, you could probably throw a rock and hit somebody wearing an Alabama hat down there. So tell us about the special event. It's the second year for this, and it's wrapped around a kind of a cool thing called a scratching post. What's a scratching post, General?
Hey, Don, appreciate it. Yeah, the scratching post is located downtown Lucedale, at corner of Mill Street, Maine, and it's been there since at that particular place where it is now since 1943. 45. I'm sorry, and we had a lot of celebrities come through town. The baseball legend Desi Dean, and the country music singers Tennessee Ernie Ford and Ernest Tubbs. Even President Reagan came through during his career as acting in film, and it's pretty good. We said it. This is the 86th year that it's actually been on site, but this is the second year that we've actually promoted it locally for our hams, to give our hams something to do as park activation, as well as to get the public excited, to get them introduced in what in the world the hobby is and what we do. So we're in a public place at a park, and I know we got some POTAs working. And it had also another famous actor, which a lot of folks see in syndication still today, which is Tom Lester, who's known as Ebb on Green Acres as the farmhand. And he was here several times during the 60s. And he had a relative that lived here. His name was Mr. Bounds, which was an alderman for the city for several years, and also owned the local Western Auto. So he would come from time to time to visit his relative, and when he did, he would stop in at the Coffee Pot, which had scratching posts at the time during 1937 to all the way up to 1993. And the last time that Ebb, which is he was known as Ed, Mr. Tom Lester, was present in town, was in the 1990s when he visited his relative for his wake during that time. So it is a real fun event, marking the history of Scratching Post. A lot of folks don't know what it is, but we try to celebrate it because it's kind of the uniqueness of the town, a little small. Everybody comes and visits and says, hey, this reminds me of Mayberry RFD or Mayberry on Annie Griffiths. And I was like, well, hopefully you don't have any Barneys around here, but it's really unique. We have a great time with it. And currently today it's located, the restaurant now is a Chinese restaurant, which as a matter of fact, my wife and I just finished eating there before we came to be on Hamnation there, Don.
Very cool. Now here's the deal. The scratching post, it's essentially a tall 4x4 post, and it's got like teeth cut or serrations cut in the four edges. And the Coffee Pot was a little coffee shop, a little restaurant. And so the whole deal was when you went there, you would lean up against it and scratch your back on the scratching post, right?
Yeah, correct. As mentioned earlier, the scratch post was originally across the street.
Yeah.
From his current location.
Right.
And that was an insurance company there. A gentleman named Mr. Bailey had an insurance company. So one of the gimmicks was to get folks to come to his insurance company was come scratch your back with our insurance.
Oh,
so he put the post up there for people to come scratching his back. And when he retired in 1945, he gave the post to his son, who moved it to his current location across the street. So it's real nice. If you go to the QRZ website and look up the call K5K, you'll see the picture of the scratch and post currently, and also from back in the well, I'm not good because I wasn't alive during that time. Maybe Don was.
No,
back
quite.
in the 1950s, 1960s, there's a little shot there that I actually found about a week ago after searching of the coffee pot during that time. And if you look back to the far right of the picture, you'll see the scratch and post where it is today currently.
Okay, well, no, okay, so yeah, I was born in September of 1960, so yeah, okay, I kind of, possibility that I could have been around during that time. It's a really cool piece of Americana, and tell us again where you're going to be, give us the date and the frequencies and where the park is, because this is a cool thing, because if you're going to be in the Lucedale, southeast Mississippi, right on the Alabama border, and you want to visit Lucedale, first off, it's a cool little town. General is a cool little guy, and the club is very, very cool. It's the George County, Mississippi Aries. Give us the dates and the times and exactly where the physical location of the special event's going to be.
Sure thing, Don. It's October 7th, which is just a couple weeks away, or a week and a half away. And it's located at the Lucedale City Park, and that address is 840 Oak Street. And if you go to the QRZ website, you'll see all that information there. And we'll be operating on 20 meters and 40 meters voice and digital alternately, so we can't have them both at the same time on the same band, but we'll have one on one, then on the other. And then if 10 meters is actually good that day on the conditions, which is one of my favorite bands, that's where I cut my teeth, so we'll jump up there on digital voice or digital for FT8 on 10 meters as well. We do have a couple talk-in frequencies. You'll see them on the QRZ site. And so if you've got any questions, you can jump on those repeaters and give us a holler or send an email or whatever the case may be. And that info is on the website as well.
Okay. It's a nice-looking QSL card. I say that because Amanda Alden, K1DDN, she did the card last year. Is she doing them this year as well?
I would like for her to. I haven't reached out to her, but I don't think she's going to turn down the money. So that's a good thing.
Well, last time I spoke to her, she said, "Oh yeah, I told her about the Scratch and Post event. She says, "Oh yeah, I need to reach out to him and see if he wants me to do the card." So she's willing and ready, and you guys just need to get together. So, and she's
that's
probably
fine. She did a fantastic job.
She's probably watching. She does well. I mean, her family owns a print shop, so and she's extremely creative. She does. She's done cards for a lot of us. So if anybody, shameless plug, if anybody needs QSL cards, just look up Amanda K1DDN on her QRZ page, and I'm sure that there's a way to find out about that print shop. But yeah, the Scratching Post 2023. How many people did you have stop by the actual physical location last year, and how many contacts did you end up making?
Oh, well, the contacts, I'm a little embarrassed to say. We reached just a little bit over 100, but that was due to because one of the stations on the digital side never worked.
Okay.
We had a computer issue, but we had, 15, 18, 20 people show up from surrounding counties. I actually had one gentleman, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his call, but he heard about it and all saw the promo last year on Hamnation, and his family lived here in Lucedale, and he came through and stopped by and did an eyeball QSO because of being on Hamnation, and we had a good response not only locally but also internationally because of Hamnation. So it works really. We're looking for a larger time this year. This is our folks. This is something new to them that we haven't done a great deal of because we're still, as a group, still kind of young. So a lot of the folks are getting their experience and growing in the hobby. So this is a great time for them to do this, and they enjoy it. They like to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a great event, General. It really is. And I want to say I'm just honored to have your friendship. It was great running into you again and your lovely wife and everybody else from the Aries group at Huntsville again this year. And I'm dying to get back over to your place for field day one of these days, one of these years, as soon as my schedule will allow. But you're a good guy. It's a great group. And this is a fun little event that is kind of like the world's largest teapot. It's a little piece of Americana that if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. Well, now you know about it, and you want to celebrate things like that because there's not enough good things to celebrate in the world, it doesn't seem like. And this is one of them. So I hope everybody goes to the Kilo 5 Kilo QRZ page and reaches out and tries to make a contact with you guys. Again, that is going to be Remind me of the date again. I've got it right here in front of me, but
October
I can't.
October 7th.
Here we go. October 7th, 1100 to 2300 UTC. Downtown Lucedale City Park, 840 Oak Street in Lucedale, Mississippi. If you're around there, go by and say hi to them. If you're not around there, get on the radio and say hi to them. General Daly, KD4VVZ, thank you so much for being part of Ham Nation again this year, and we wish you the best of luck with the Scratch and Post.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate you, Ham Nation. You have a great night.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Let's throw it over to ICOM. Hear a word from those fine people.
Keep your competitive contesting edge with ICOM. ICOM's high-power base stations cut through pileups, letting you work the bands and record those contacts. Contest from the comfort of your home or remotely with the RSBA1 app. Heard it, worked it, logged it. The IC7851 gives you a new window into the RF world and is HF excellence unparalleled. With faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal, it's truly the pinnacle of HF perfection. Dual receivers, digital IF filters, memory keyer, digital voice recorder, high-resolution Spectrum waterfall display, enhanced PC connectivity, and SD memory card slot. The IC7610 is the SDR every ham wants. This high-performance SDR can pick out faint signals in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The ICOM IC7610 is a direct sampling, software-defined radio that has changed the world's definition of an SDR. RF direct sampling system, 110 dB RMDR, independent dual receivers, and dual digicell. ICOM's IC7300 is a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design that will far exceed your expectations. This innovative HF transceiver digitizes RF before various receiver stages, reducing the generated inherent noise in different IF stages. This is a radio that changed the way entry-level HF is designed. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and SD memory card slot. The real HF fun starts here. For more information about ICOM's amateur offerings, visit icomamerica.com/lineup/amateur.
1,000 thank yous to ICOM. Hey, did you know that ICOM does a giveaway every time Ham Nation is live? They give away 3 swag packs, which is like a bag and shirt, hat, some other odds and ends. It's always a fun little package. And if you win one of those swag packs, you get entered to win one of the grand prizes at the end of the month, which is an ICOM radio. To enter, every time we're live, you just click on that Enter Now button on the ICOM Ham Nation homepage. The link is in the description for this video. You can sign up. You can win, and then you could possibly win a radio. Speaking of winning a radio, check out this this new page. You look at this animation. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that. Again, where is it? Come on now. There we go. So every month they show you which radio they're giving away, and this month is right here, the ICT-10, and we're going to pick a winner, or we've picked a winner. ICOM's picked a winner. We're going to tell you about it. So the swag pack winners are Alice R, KA3KMH, James O, K4JMO, Soren S, AK4WQ, and the winner of the radio is Ernest G, W1RU. So congratulations, Ernest. You are a big winner. And you could be a winner, too, if you click that Enter Now button on the website for ICOM, which is linked in the show topic. So thanks so much, ICOM, again, for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate it. Now we're going to go to portable radio extraordinaire Randy, and he's going to tell us about his first POTA. I can't wait to hear it.
Well, yeah, I've never activated a park, so I thought it was about time. In fact, I've never even chased them. Although when I checked my stats, I found out that I had worked a whole bunch of them without even knowing it. So that's kind of neat. So anyway, let me get my screen here going, and I think this should do. There we go. So let me step through some slides here and talk about what I did. Okay, so it's my first time to activate. So getting started, first thing you kind of do these days is you want to learn something. You go watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos. So just searching YouTube for POTA, and the one at the top is kind of an interesting one from the Ham Radio Dude, because I think he had received some comments from people saying, is it really that easy? Because a lot of the videos you see, people edit at the context, so it really time compresses it. So the new people think it's really fast. So we'll talk about some more of that here towards the end of my little talk here. So you watch a bunch of videos, you dig around on the Parks on the Air webpage, and it's got lots of the guides are over on the left. You can spend a fair amount of time digging through all of this type of stuff. And this is the logging program that seems like everybody uses for this, Hammers, and it's available for all the different platforms, your phones, tablets, all your operating systems. And what's really nice about this is that when you get done, you can upload to the POTA site. So makes it really handy. Although you don't upload from here, but the files that it creates, you then go to the POTA website and then you upload it. So this is the logging window. So the stuff over on the right, you fill in pretty much when you start your activation. And then over on the left here is where you put in their call sign, signal reports. If they're in a park, there's a place you can put in their park number, and you can see the context build up. So to get a legal activation, or a real one, or one that really counts, you need to work at least 10 other stations. So I know I've seen a lot of people on YouTube doing this on their phones. I think, Josh, you use this on your phone quite a bit.
I do.
Yeah. So anyway, so I had a trip planned. I was going to leave home here in Go Beach and go down to Grass Valley, California for the weekend. So I travel along. I stay off of I-5. I don't want to battle trucks all day long. So I go down the coast here, and then it cuts over. And so I thought I would spend a night. I'm retired. It's not like I'm working. I got to do traveling as much as possible in a day. So I figured I'd spend the night over here in Benbow. There's a KOA campground, and take my camp trailer, and I stayed at the fairgrounds here in Grass Valley. So down the coast here, there's quite a few parks. So if you go into the POTA site and look at their maps, you can see all these dots are various parks down along the coast. So I thought, with a trailer, I could just kind of pull in, pull over, and fire up and get on the air. And since I was only driving about 200 miles a day, 4 to 5 hours, I could spend time at all these different parks and have some fun. So this is my Go Box. It's a little bit bigger than most. So it's my camp trailer, and I have the antenna and everything mounted in there. I have a 25-foot mast, which I just have a 25-foot wire that goes up to the top, and it's got the ICOM AH4 tuner. Then this tuner is bonded to the frame of the trailer. I have a 1-inch wide copper strap going down, and I really like the 7100 from inside the trailer because it takes up like almost no room on the desk. So the radio is mounted on a board that's underneath the table here that spans across between the two bench seats. So it makes for a real efficient setup there. So planning is everything. So I pulled into the first park, and I pulled out my cell phone to see what the park number was, and no cell coverage. That meant there was no park number, so I couldn't do anything. So I left.
That happens.
Yeah, it happened. So I drove down the road, and I saw some bars on the phone. I pulled over, and I went through the POTA website and found all the parks down the coast, and now I wrote them all down in a notebook. So now I can go on to the next park, and I know what the K number is. That's the important thing here, because that's what everybody, the K number and their call sign is what has to be logged correctly. So ready, set, go. You get set up. So you find a clear frequency, And if you have internet, you can spot yourself. So this is the POTA spotting page. And this is live. It's constantly changing things. Stations are coming and going and things. And I fire up and call CQ POTA. So I was using sideband for all this. I did not do any FT8 for these activations. So again, you need to work at least 10 stations for the activation to count. So it was, interesting. And one day I was, I called QRZ as a frequency used, called that, a couple times. It was about 15 minutes before the hour. And I get on there and I make a contact or two. And this fellow comes on and he says, well, we have a net that starts on the hour in about 10 minutes. I said, oh, okay. Thank you for telling me that. I will be off this frequency in 10 minutes. So, so we worked through and I was able to get the rest of the stations that I needed for the 10 count. So that was nice, and they didn't get all upset, and I got out of their way, and they could have their net. So when you finish, there's basically pressure to get your log uploaded, because all the hunters out there, they don't have to do any logging. This is kind of what's neat about this. It's only the activators that have to send in the logs, but the hunters will not get the credit for the contact until the activator uploads their log. So, and a lot of them do it as soon as they sign off for that night or as soon as they can get into internet coverage again. So it's really important for the activators to upload your log. I had a friend from the club camping up the coast here, and they were outside of internet coverage, and they were camping for 4 or 5 days. So it was about a week before he got home and had time to get the logs uploaded. In fact, I saw him at a club picnic, and I said, "Have you uploaded your logs yet?" And we all need the points from that. So on the POTA site, you can check your activations. So these are the parks that I activated. Some of these were going to Grass Valley, and the others were coming home from Grass Valley. And I was activating one about 10 minutes before 5 o'clock local time here. So when I went to check, I knew I worked 11 stations, so I should have been activated. But what happened is that I went through a UTC day. So here it is, 5 stations from one day. Then the following UTC day, which is just a few minutes later, I worked 6. So even though I worked 11, that park activation, I guess, didn't count. So something to kind of watch out for. If you hunt from home, you can check your hunter log. So since this time, I've been checking the spotting page. I do a lot of FT8 here at home. So as soon as I see somebody CQing POTA on there, I jump on them and start calling and, keep jumping around to find a free frequency. And sometimes I even have to turn on the amplifier to get them, but they're in the log. So I shot videos of all of my activations. And the first 2 I edited on the context, so it's much more time compressed. But then I saw the Ham Radio Dude's video, and he talked about, is it that easy? Is it that quick? So my other videos, they're edited for the front end where I explain what I'm doing and stuff. But once I start calling CQ, the video runs in its entirety. So you hear the slow times and the fast times, and of course I'm chatting to you about other things that are going on. So if you're really bored, you can watch about, looks like about 2 hours of me calling CQ POTA. So that's all of that. And let's see, I have a little video here. Where is it here of me setting up at my antenna. So is that showing up, Josh?
You're dragging it over right now. I'm seeing it.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to run about, it's maybe a half a minute long here.
Okay,
so
yeah, no problem.
This is me. This is how I set up the antenna. My goal when I came up with this system for the trailer, I wanted to be able to do it in like 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it comes to 25-foot mask and the wire.
Now, we're not hearing audio, so you probably didn't share the audio. You got to click that little button. Or you can.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's okay either way.
So anyway, I take in.
I was going to ask you about
the wire on the top. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I just run it up, and I have marks on there so I don't pull it too far out.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that a couple times. It's not bad if it's the top piece, but the bottom one is a real pain when you pull that out.
Too heavy.
Little top heavy.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So anyway, I pull all these up. Keep going. Okay, there's the end. I have one of these Wago connectors. I have a little stub coming out of the top of the tuner.
There you go.
And I'm done.
That's you go.
So you're running the ICOM remote tuner option.
Yes. Yep.
And how's that working for you? What was like your furthest contacts you were picking up?
Well, I won the DX Challenge at Quartzfest 2 years ago with that. I worked way out into the Pacific somewhere. Let me stop my screaming.
Oh, fantastic.
So, with FTA, you can really work at long distance with it. It really works well. The ICOM, remote antenna tuning system.
Mm-hmm.
If you change frequency or change bands, when you first transmit, you can, configure this stuff. So when you first transmit, it tunes. It takes maybe 2 seconds, if that, and it drops the power, and you hear it go clunk, clunk, beep, and then it's done.
Yeah.
My 7610 works the exact same way, and I have the Mercury external antenna tuner plugged into the external antenna tuner jack on the back of the 7610. It works the exact same way. It drops the power on the radio, the antenna tunes, and bang, it's done, and it works great. So, a 25-foot wire, and that's what it says in the little data sheet for the thing. You can run longer wires. In fact, I was at Oshkosh. I ran about a 40 or 50 foot horizontal wire off the top of that, and I don't know if it really made a whole lot of difference. It probably would for 80 meters, but I use it for 40 up through 10. So
excellent.
Anyway, that's my first POTA activations. So if you've never done that, it can get addicting.
Well, I mean, thanks for being on the show, and I'll come back here because I thought I think I've got something. Let me. There we go. And I'm hidden now. There we go. Got it.
There you are.
I fixed it, but I have to undo everything I unfixed, right?
Right.
So it's possible that first one, were you on that whole international dateline thing, POTA early shift, late shift, that whole game? Yeah. That's what I thought. So But yeah, it's very it can be addicting. I have to go back and watch the rest of your videos, but I know we edit our videos for time because really nobody really wants to sit down and watch like an hour-long or 2-hour-long video. But even QRP, I feel like if your antenna system is pretty sound, you should be able to activate within an hour or two. That's
well, make a big difference if you're running sideband or 100%. Maybe CW and FT8. So those two modes get through with the QRP a little bit better, but voice could be a challenge at 5 or 10 watts at times. But the antenna is the key.
Yep.
You need an efficient antenna. Mm-hmm. So
if you have the wherewithal for everybody watching to learn CW, one of the really nice things about Parks on the Air is that it will use the reverse beacon network to spot you. When you call, so you make an alert the day before for the park you're going to be on, and then you call CQ from in the park on the frequency you're on, and the reverse beacon network will auto spot you, which is just so nice. Because then you can go in the middle of nowhere and you don't need the internet at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
In fact, when you're running the logging program, if you're connected to the internet, a little thing pops up when somebody spots you, which is nice.
Yes.
People see that you're still active and that type of thing. So
it's quite nice. Hammers has come a long way. So I appreciate that. So very good. Thank you, Randy, for sharing that. I absolutely love ham radio stories like that. So thank you.
There's always something new to try in a ham radio.
There is. That's the best part about this hobby.
There's no shortage.
Don, we're throwing to you. Take it away, buddy. Let's hear about that news line.
Yep, there's always something going on in and around ham radio that we feel that you should probably know about, and that's why we do. Amateur Radio Newsline, and that's why we do this. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2395, this is Ham Nation Headlines for Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. A ham radio club in Canada is struggling with the loss of important radio equipment that was the heart and soul of the group.
The Cambridge Amateur Radio Club, VE3SWR, went QRT earlier this month following a break-in at the shed where the club stores its equipment. The Kitchener-Waterloo Amateur Radio Club helped get them back on the air. Harry Neeson, VE3HZ, president of the Kitchener Club, told the CBC that it was natural for the club to open its doors to help fellow hams. Scott Mitchell, VA3GGT, president of the Cambridge Club, said that the club's electric generator went missing along with numerous tools after the break-in. Part of the storage shed had been set on fire and the club's repeaters suffered smoke damage. The club's duplexer had been thrown to the other side of the shed and was destroyed. Scott said he discovered the damage in early September after going to the shed to check on why the club repeater had not been on the air for a few days. He thought perhaps the extreme heat in that part of Canada had caused the shutdown. Scott posted on the club's Facebook page that although much of the shed was ransacked, quote, "Thankfully our repeaters were the only thing they didn't break into." The incident has been reported to police. The losses and damage are estimated at between $2,000 and $3,000. This is Sel Emby, KB3 TZD.
The Amateur Radio Operator's Toolkit for Disaster Assistance usually consists of towers, radios, antennas, and other communications equipment. Now, one club in Missouri has just added a new device, one that communicates with the heart.
The Sedalia Pettis Amateur Radio Club has a new addition to its emergency communications trailer. It's an AED, an automated external defibrillator, which is capable of restoring the heart's natural rhythm in case of cardiac arrest. The small device was donated by an organization called Wear Red for Women, which raised the funds to buy it during a luncheon and auction earlier this year. The club's vice president, Richard Camerand, KE0QYA, told local media that the AED will be placed in the emergency communications trailer that hams use during disaster drills as well as real emergencies. This is Randy Sly, W4XJ.
The ham radio community can once again be proud of some of the award winners being recognized by the Radio Club of America.
A number of amateur radio operators are being recognized by the Radio Club of America for their contributions to radio and the wireless community. Ruth Willett, KM4LAO, was chosen as the first recipient of the Radio Club of America's Carol Perry Young Professional Award. Ruth previously received the RCA's Young Achiever Award while she was an undergraduate at Kettering University in Michigan. The other recipients include Ray Novak in 9JA of ICOM America, who will receive RCA's Special Service Award. Tim Duffy, K3LR, the CEO of DX Engineering, is being recognized for products their business has provided to the wireless industry. They will join a number of others at an awards banquet in November in Denver, Colorado. This is Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Sel Emby, KB3TZD, Randy Sly, W4XJ, Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3, we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.
Well, you know, it's always said that the sun will come out tomorrow, but unfortunately, the Scove will not come out tonight. She has been very, very busy. Thank you. I just wrote that.
Yes.
She's been appreciate the courtesy chuckle, Randy. Appreciate that greatly. She has been extremely busy. Did not have time to prepare a report for us, but you can always go and check out spaceweatherwoman.com. You can check out at Tamitha Scove on X or Twitter or whatever they're calling it this week, and of course it's YouTube. Tamitha Scove is the name of her channel there. So follow her and get all the information you need on our star. And there's always some great information. I don't think the woman sleeps because she's always posting on that X thing all the time, like 3 o'clock in the morning. Ooh, something just happened. There she is. She's right there. She doesn't sleep. I don't know what she's doing.
Well, I know what she's doing. She's answering. So when I had her on my show, my Saturday show,
great.
She dipped into a little bit of like, there's some nutters out there that they believe all kinds of things, not just about the sun, but the very reality of the planet that we live upon, right? And so she dips into that a little bit. And in fact, that was what I think kind of led her into creating the videos that she does, is correcting bad information that's out there, which is just what a great way to get into something positive, is to start by correcting people that are just wrong.
I know, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I love that.
Fun. But she's a great resource, and we're happy to have her as part of our family. So thank you, Dr. T.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to mention one thing. We got nets, but I want to mention this first. So this comes around every year. It's a fun contest, is even too strong a word, but it's a fun event. It's called Hellfest, and it is Friday the 13th this year in October. Perfect
of course
timing. And it is Feld Hell only contacts, which is just I'm so excited, because if you're like me, you've probably never used that mode, or you've used it so sparingly that you forgot what you had already done, and even if your computer's set up to do it anymore. So between
you forget how to run it.
Yeah, sometimes between now and then, Friday the 13th of October, I'm going to do a video on explaining how to set it up, and then we're going to actually try to make some contacts using Feld Hell. Which, have you ever used Feld Hell, either of you?
No, I don't. I wouldn't even know what I wouldn't know what it sounded like if I tripped over it while scanning across the band.
The thing that's interesting about it is it's not the sound necessarily, although I think it does have a unique sound. It's actual display. So like PSK31, it would, like a typewriter types it out, the text. Feld Hell is like, it's a
facsimile.
It's a facsimile. So it just
I have seen that. Yeah.
It just prints it on the screen, and it's wild. So we'll be having some fun with some old modes of operation. Hellfest.digital is the URL. Make sure you go avail yourself of that, and get on FL. You're going to need FL Digi basically to make this work.
I have a couple of videos back on my channel from years ago, so it's pretty neat. It was a machine that was developed basically kind of before teletype machines, or is a much simpler machine to have out in the field during the wars and stuff. So it's and it prints on the screen these sideways strips, and you kind of see the text above and below, and maybe one in the middle, and it has a slant to it. And the reason behind that is that back originally, the motor speeds, they weren't synchronous. So since it printed twice, it
was offset.
Displayed twice across the strip, you always were able to read it. What's interesting is when you get two stations together, you'll see both signals.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you see one stronger be darker and the other one be gray and stuff. So it's an interesting mode.
Yeah, if you everybody watching too, go look up the history of the facsimile. It is over 100 years old, I believe.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Wyoming is going to have abandoned towns on the air for Halloween also.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Thank you, Tom, for sharing that one. So somebody look that up. That's wonderful. That cracks me right up. All right, so for some nets, let's mention them. D-Star 14 Charlie is going to be on after the show. Kevin KC7 FPF is going to be on 40 meters, likely on 7.192 megahertz. And K7 UDI will either be on 20 meters at 14.268 or poking around somewhere on 75 meters. That is the single sideband portion of the 80 meter band. So that is where you go. I can't believe it. We're 5 minutes ahead of the hour here, which has never been done before. So
we got to stretch it out somehow.
Yeah, what do we pad? Quick.
It's crazy, even with all the technical difficulties that ate up a bunch of time too, and we're actually ahead.
I know. I started working on my live stream for Halloween, which is gonna, held fell as part of the month, but I printed a skull. That's
cool.
So this is all 3D printed, and this is gonna be part of the video, my live stream, which you can already see I'm starting to work on it. Very important what's gonna go in there. So
how many prints did that take to get that?
One print, straight up. Boom. My printer is the best. 22-hour long print. It is a Bamboo P1P. It is a fantastic printer. It's like
I've been hearing more and more about that printer. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the best. They're not cheap. The bamboo P1P is the cheapest, but they're all pretty good. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be a good one. All right, everybody. Anything you want to mention, Don, before we wrap up?
I got nothing really. Just hope everyone has a great couple of weeks coming up before we talk to you again and get on the radio. Try to get on the radio every day. I'm guilty of not being able to get on the radio every day, unfortunately. So do as I say and not as I do. But anyway, there you go. And go check out Dr. T.
Thank you, Randy, for being on. What have you and anything you want to mention?
I've been busy working on some dipoles, which I've been putting off for about a year. So I'm putting up a 80 and 40 meter and now have them strung. That was enough of a project. I had to do some maintenance on the tower. The rotor was turning antennas smoothly one way, but was kind of jerking coming back. So I thought maybe it was the thrust bearing at the top. So I loosened that all up. No, that turned by hand just fine. This is nice that you can tilt the tower over to look at things, but you can't turn it when it's laying down. So the tower went up and down several times. I ended up loosening up the clamps on the Yaesu rotor and ran the rotor, with a horizontal. It seemed to turn fine. Put everything back together, got everything centered, and it now works fine again. So,
ghost in the machine.
Indeed.
Yep.
All right. Well, until we are back with you again in 2 weeks, a hearty 73. Get on the radio, and there's all kinds of events that are coming up, all kinds of fun stuff. So get out there, start looking online, Google all those ham radio things, and make sure you check out YouTube as well. So thanks everybody for watching.
And we're finally in fall, so enjoy the cooler weather coming up. Oh, I'm getting ready to do Cruising the Coast, the big car show on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. That's the first week of October, so I'm looking forward to that. Taking a few days of vacation to go down there and check out the cars. They have 8,800, I think, already pre-registered.
You bringing some radios with you?
I may. Probably a handy talkie or something. We're only going to be down there for a couple of days, so
I was going to say
not much time.
Yeah,
not much time. Yeah, and play, in the convertible, kind of hard to hear. Right. So, yeah.
Right on.
But we'll go on down and have fun. Cruising the Coast. Check it out.
Very good, very good. All right, I'll talk to you again in 2 weeks. So until we see you, 73.
Good night.
73. Thanks for watching.
Appreciate you.
Be radioactive.
That's right. Yeah. Get out there. Get on the air. Do a POTA. Go watch my recent video on 10-meter POTA. You can activate the entire thing, 10 meters.
Yeah.
No problem, and you're going to love it. Technicians.
And watch that long scope video, too, on Ham Radio Crash Course.
Oh, thank you so much, Don. All right, everybody.
Yep.
See ya.